And then soon after that, our man Gary proposes. Hey, some friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm symptomistic, like optimistic, but make it Sims. And I know we're starting off here with like, this is not Barbie, but we have a new story to tell because this is Gary Blackburn, and he's not a new Sim. This is how he used to look. I upgrade him a little bit, but he's not a new Sim at all. He is an old friend from the Fireside. If you don't know the Fireside, it's like a financial independence club that Barbie is in, and their relationship is evolving. She took some breaks from the Fireside. She's been going through some stuff. Look at the last episode. But he kind of hit her up, basically being like, hey, I want to catch up. I think he's always kind of liked her, but she's had a lot going on. He's had a lot going on. And, this is like a light friendship date. Like it's not a full-on date, but it's getting there. And so they're going to connect. Just so you know a little bit about Gary before I introduce him fully. He is an ex-athlete turned politician, so he has like a little fame. He's working his way up through the political career. I'm sure you guys have seen the thumbnail, so you kind of want to know how we get here. And she's instantly attracted to him now that he looks a little different. He's gotten a haircut. I think when they first met, he was kind of an athlete figuring out like what does he want to do with his life. He has a little extra money. He was working towards like being financially wealthy, but his athlete career was kind of over and he didn't really know what he wanted next. And so now here they are on like this casual coffee date. I will say that Chloe is less stressed about her breakup with, we won't even say his name. We're done with him. But, some time has passed. She's had some time to like work through that emotion. And it almost feels like perfect timing that Gary hit her up and they're taking this little date. They are so excited to see each other that they end up talking outside for a little while, but then fans are starting to notice Gary, which, Chloe is kind of excited about. She loves like this little bit of attention. I don't know if she's ever wanted to be famous herself. I think she's just wanted to be like very well off, but I think she like many other Sims might associate fame with wealth, and they're gonna just step inside because Gary doesn't really want that attention. He's just really excited about seeing Chloe for the first time in some time, and they're gonna order some coffee. Just again, this is like friends catching up, but there's like a little flirtation here. They've finished their coffee and their little croissants. They've been sitting here for hours and hours already, just talking and really talking about the state of the world, talking about what kind of music they're into, talking about their hobbies. And I think, they know each other, but honestly, they didn't catch up very much outside of Fireside without the whole group. Sometimes they would like text on the side, but I think they were so far into their ambitions and what they wanted, they didn't realize how much they had in common for their goals. They're thinking about another cup of coffee and how great of a day it is, and they're just saying how good of a time they've had and just how cool this is that they have been like kind of passing each other by and they've never spent the time to connect. And Gary is really impressed with Chloe a lot. I think he kind of always was impressed, but he was not looking to romantically settle down before. Just he had a lot to figure out. And I think right now, Chloe doesn't know this, but he is on the fast track to settle down. Like he is, I think partially because he's had like the experiences he wanted to have, but also because of his goals as a politician, he thinks having a wife will help him. And, to him, that's like the Samarica dream or whatever. Like he just wants, the white picket fence, the house, being very wealthy, and see now they're already talking about kids and they're loving each other's answers. Like they want the same thing as far as like lifestyle. And I think who knows what else they're like skipping over. They're definitely like starting to think about moving fast just based off of this one conversation. And they're taking some selfies. I think Chloe is secretly thinking this is first date selfies. I think Gary is also secretly thinking the same, that this is like, oh, we should take some selfies, we're going to be together. I think before they even leave this coffee shop, they have decided that they are going to be together, that this is a long-term thing, and they're just hoping that nothing goes wrong to stop that from happening. I think instead of thinking like, oh, we'll see what this is like, we'll take it one day at a time, they're just like, hey, if nothing goes wrong, then this is it, because Chloe is also realizing how different he is from Parker. Sorry, I forgot we weren't saying his name, but just how different he is and like the things he wants. He has like these clear goals. He doesn't seem like he's kind of just, having a good time. And he seems like he's striving after what he wants. And Chloe's just like, oh, I've never been with someone like that. Even like she's dated other people, there hasn't just really been any spark. And I think her feeling like, oh, this instant comfort and connection, like this must mean something serious. And I think Gary, on the other hand, is also thinking like, I, I know this girl. I feel like she is someone who can play the role that I need her to play for this next chapter of my life, and we get along well, so why not? And Gary is starting to feel flirty. They're starting to get closer. The romantic satisfaction has begun in their relationship. And again, they haven't been physical or anything. They haven't done anything besides hang out in this coffee shop and send a few texts before. But I think what we're going to do probably is extend this date because they're having such a great time. Uh, Gary has decided to mix work, but I think in his mind, he's kind of like, this is a little bit work. Like, this is going to help me in the long term. So I think he's looking at this as like, oh, this is how I can do two things. Like, I, want some romantic company, and I also want to help my career. And I think this will be great. I'm just looking at the views around here every once in a while. I mean, y'all know this if you watch my video. I just gotta stop and look at the views around the world because that is what we pay all this money in the game for. A lot of it is just like window dressing of the world, and I appreciate it. So they're gonna go back here for a little bit. Oh, this is, I don't know who made this build, but it is a really nice build. If you want to know, ask me in the comments and I'll go in my game and look for it. But yeah, hopefully they get a little privacy out here. I don't know how long that's gonna last before like, up, see, paparazzi's already here, and that's our cue. I didn't mention this, but Gary is actually, he came in town specifically for this after like, a little bit of flirt exchange. And so he's staying in a hotel. He's also doing some work here. So that is why they are at Chloe's house instead of going to a hotel. And Gary is just looking around. He's really impressed by her home and that she's done this by herself. And, they talk a little bit about her family background, about how she kind of didn't grow up with much. And, he's really impressed with how much she's done. And I think she just feels like really excited by getting all of this. And she talks about like having her first car and how much she had to fight to get to this life. And they're just having a nice glass of wine and sitting in her dining room that I feel like she rarely uses as dining room at all. But, it was something that was very important for her to have. And I think, he's like, this is going amazing. It's interesting that she is still feeling energized after all of this and he's still like in the flirty vibe. I think he feels a little more like, oh, this is it. Like he's more all in. And I think she's more like, oh, I hope nothing goes wrong. Also, I'm noticing in this scene how yellow this space looks. I don't know if that's because I need to add in that like mod to get the lighting to be different in The Sims, or it's my setting with this room that I should have switched. It doesn't matter. Reminder to everyone watching that I am way ahead of this point in my game, so I know exactly how this story turns out. I've been playing off camera. I explained why in previous videos. I won't go into it again, but yeah, I feel like something's weird with the lighting. And I think this is pretty much the end of the date. And again, you see, it was a friendly hangout. That was its intention initially, but it is kind of evolving, and I think they feel great about having this experience together. It's the next day, and I wanted to show you that Chloe is daydreaming about Gary, so that is a good sign that their relationship is going well and continuing to move forward. And then I noticed like these pictures of Parker on the wall. Gary didn't say anything. Gary kind of knows like that Parker was somebody she dated and that she was just getting out of a relationship. And now, fast forward even more, they go on this getaway to a weekend getaway because it's kind of hard with their schedules to like figure out when to date. So they go to a spa hotel, which Gary, from talking to Chloe, knew that's what she would like and that's what she's interested in. And you can also see that Chloe is a rising star. So, being connected to Gary is, you know, boosting her up in the world. And this is them on like the rooftop. They are in a hot tub together. They have an amazing weekend. I think the weekend is when it's like, oh, this is serious. We need to kind of lock in. We are a couple. Everything is moving fast and furious. Like they had a date that was like, well, a friendship hangout that was basically like, oh, we are dating. And then they have this weekend away that's essentially like, oh, we are a couple. We are a serious couple. And so that's kind of the bulk of their experience. And then soon after that, our man Gary proposes. And he doesn't do something super political. Like, I think he could have done a very public proposal. This is her house. Like, this is not, somewhere outside where people would see it or something you would expect. And I think he picks this because although he realizes like this has like political implications, he does want to make it clear like, oh, you're the person I'm going to live with. You're the person I'm going to be with in the house. And it's not just about like how it is in front of everyone else. As you might have saw on the screen, they have the wholesome romance, um, whatever those things are called, relationship status. And I think that is because they are very focused on like checking boxes. So like, is this a like respectful relationship? Do we have things in common? Check, 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 check. Uh and yeah, so they are interested in checking off those boxes. And it's not steamy. They are like obviously very physically attracted to each other, but yeah, they're checking off boxes. And we are continuing to move this story along fast and furious because soon after they're engaged, part of the reason they get engaged is so that Gary and Chloe can move in together. Now, I know Chloe got this beautiful townhouse and it is wonderful, but I think ultimately, like, she wanted this, you know, she wanted to be married, she wants to have kids, and that was part of the issue with Parker. She wants to live with her future husband. And I think the fact that like Parker never moved that forward is part of their demise. And so why are we moving to Copperdale? We're moving to Copperdale because this is where uh, Gary is elected as a politician. So he essentially played football here for the local, well, I mean, it was a SMFL team, but like he played football here. People are, he was kind of like a local hero, even though he's not necessarily from Copperdale. Where do you think Gary's from? I feel like Gary's kind of from Del Sol Valley, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments where you think Gary might be from. And so, yeah, he is kind of like this, hero, not hometown hero, but he's like this local celebrity here. And he knew this was like his best chance of getting elected. And so, yeah, that is why he moved here. He is elected and this home was in the save. I tweaked it a little bit, like I made it more blue in certain places. Like there's some extra bedrooms. Obviously, they don't have kids. Yeah, it's just them two, but again, they are very focused on like how they want their family to be, and they've built this house with the assumption that they will have two kids, or they bought this house rather, they didn't build it, with the assumption that they will one day have at least two kids. And yeah, this is their new home. They sit on this hill above Copperdale, above like the town area, and it's a great space for Gary to host events. It is a great space for Chloe to continue her career and still be at the top of her career. Uh, Gary is able to just like walk down to the town and work on, whatever politician thinks he needs to work on. It is a great school district. Like, this was the place to continue to build their future. And I know this moved so fast, but this was Chloe's goal all along, and I think the previous episodes showed her like struggling with it and not really getting what she needed from previous dating experiences. And I will have to say, like, remember, she's complete with the Barbie Legacy challenge. Like, we're complete with this generation. The only thing that we haven't done is like start the next generation. And so that is also why Barbie is moving so fast, because, she's achieved everything career-wise she wanted to achieve. And I'm sure she hasn't like had that many adventures because she was so focused on career, but honestly, that was never of interest to her. Still touring the build a little bit. I changed this room a lot. I felt like I just wanted it to be a little more, I wanted it to feel homey, but I also wanted to feel like Gary could have guests come into this place, and they would, he's trying to portray an idea of like, just a regular guy that happens to be a politician, that happens to be really charming, that happens to be athletic. Like, he values his family. So he wants that to be portrayed. I'm just going to put that away for when they have kids. And so this is supposed to be like a cozy space. And yeah, I think this is like a big adjustment for Chloe because this moves so fast. And even though this is what she wanted, I think she's trying to figure out like how does she play this role in this new circumstance. Now that they are settled into the house, Gary is doing a special event for Freedom Day here in The Sims, and he has invited a bunch of the important neighborhood guys over to have some drinks. Chloe has helped serve drinks, so I feel like this is just like another hat for Chloe to wear, and she's managing it all well. And I think she's excited to kind of play this role. It's very different from what she has experienced. So things are going great for them. And speaking of great, Chloe is pregnant. They are like, I feel like this happened very quickly after she moved into this house. Like this, and she feels like this is just the pieces coming together. And so I think this is a great place to stop. I'll see you guys next time. I'm Symptomistic, like optimistic, but make it Sims. Thank you all for watching. Bye, Sim friends.